Welcome to a special episode of Christmas at the Emerging Lawyer at the Coffee Corner Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Beyond Deals and Decisions, the leadership path of Sunila Awasthi. In a legal career spanning over 3 decades, Sunila Awasthi, now co-managing partner at Lex Jurist, has witnessed India's corporate and commercial law landscape evolve in extraordinary ways. From navigating the early days of economic liberalization to advising on cutting edge issues in general corporate advisory, ranging from employment laws, including related to internal investigations, as well as posh advisory to information technology laws, data privacy. Her journey has been marked by both intellect and intuition. Known for a clarity of thought, steady leadership, and empathic approach to mentorship, Sunila exemplifies what it means to be a modern lawyer, one who balances expertise with ethics and professional excellence with human insight. Today, on this episode, we dive into her experiences, reflections, and the wisdom she's gathered along the way. And we also come to know Sunila as a person. So, welcome, Sunila, to today's special Coffee Corner episode.
Thank you very much, Amir. I'm delighted to be here, and especially when you said in the beginning that it's a Christmas special. So, my Christmas and New Year's greetings to you and all your viewers and your team.
Okay. So let me explain you, Sunila. There will be 3 rounds: professional, personal, and a surprise. The rapid fire round, where you will be in the hot seat and use inspiration AI, legal AI 101, which will be autographed and sent to you your Christmas gift.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's begin the first round. For the line, Amir Virani, hosted Coffee on Legal Tech Evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. So my first question, Sunila. You began your career during the early years of India's economic liberalization. What was some defining moments from those formative years at Ajay Bal and Company, especially while working on the first JV agreements and FIPB filings? And how has it been till date? And what were your key defining moments you had?
Okay, so I think it was almost prophetic that I joined the legal profession in 1992 when India started liberalizing its economy. So I became a lawyer in that year. And I was a lawyer who was hell bent on not going to the courts and being a corporate lawyer, a term that was unheard of at that point of time. So it was serendipity which landed me up at Ajabel and Company, which was looking for a lawyer who did not want to go to courts. So I was seventh lawyer in the firm, all seniors. There was only one junior. What was, I mean, I when I look back, I think it was one of the most exciting times, simply because we had no resources. Now, if you may find that a little contradictory, but there were no internets, there were no computers, there were no online resources. You had to think on your feet. There were no precedents. We were drafting from scratch. It's only when I look back at that phase, I realize how significant that was, to create a very solid base, frankly, as a lawyer. And you know, um, uh, because there were no precedents and because there was paucity of resources, you had to think on your feet. To give you an example, we had a client which was through a foreign law firm, which was thinking of, setting up a big fertilizer project in West Bengal. And there was no idea about what laws regulate the fertilizers industry. So I had to literally pick up the phone book, look for Fertilizer Association of India's number, go down to that, pick up the reference books, do some homework. I can't imagine anyone doing that today. All they do instantly is do a Google search or go to Chat GPT, which is the latest version. So that was a big difference, and they were very, according to me, they were amazing learnings. Learned how to read a balance sheet, the first due diligence that the firm did. on a very major client, which was under the new SEBI takeover code way back in 1996. So, how to even read a balance sheet was one of the things that we were given a heads up on by our managing partner at that point of time. So, I think there is no one particular defining moment. There were so many, the excitement, the fun, and the fun part was that we, back in 95, 96, when it was unheard of, we juniors got together and proposed to the seniors that we should have a party for our clients in office and with mid-level people who we work on a daily basis with. And it was a huge hit, and the clients were very happy. They had never experienced, a pleasant evening, getting to know the lawyers that they're working with them. So on the whole, that was a phase. The initial 6, 7 years, I can say, were very exciting.
Wow. So let's build the conversation, Sunila. Your international exposure through the University of Queensland's IPR program is unique. How did that experience influence your worldview as a lawyer?
So, to be honest, I went to do the masters only to take a break from my professional life. I was feeling burnt out. I needed change. I had been working for 8 years nonstop, and I always had this thing that I want to go and experience studying abroad. Australia, I selected, and I'm going to be honest about it because I could afford it. I could fund my own masters. Intellectual property was a subject which I found interesting. So, and it was a twining program. There was one semester being taught here in Amity Law School and one semester being taught in the University of Queensland at Brisbane. So it was short, sweet, and it was giving me a master's degree. That was the driving force, to be practical, and no major. I did not, frankly, look at it as something which is going to add value to my CV. I wanted it to be an experience, and it was definitely an eye opener. In 2000, when I went to Australia and to this university, um, uh, to put it bluntly, I was blown away by the facilities that were there for in the university, the library, the facilities for students, the ease of getting an education. And finally, I think, and the fact that you had students from all over the world in your class, and the teachers had a very interesting way of teaching. It was not what we had been used to back in India at that point of time. It was a very liberating experience, frankly, to be able to have very interactive conversations with your teachers and with your students, something I had not experienced in my education in India, except for my undergrad in Lady Shriram College. And one of the most defining things was that there is no age bar to education. The
Yes.
most successful litigator of Brisbane City, a 75-year-old lawyer, was one of my classmates. And, it was very refreshing to see that there is nobody looks upon it as something odd or unusual. I think that's a hang up that we as a country need to get over with. When we think about these constraints of age, इस एज में ये होना चाहिए, इस एज में ये होना चाहिए. So that was a very interesting experience.
Wow. Beautiful. So, Sunila, from your vantage point, how is technology redefining general corporate advisory and compliance work?
See, for compliance, it may be useful because compliance requires some, routine, periodic actions, and tech tools can help you in managing those more efficiently. And, from a lawyer's point of view or client's point of view, it will become one of those areas which will save man hours, which translates into billing for clients. So definitely that could be something which could be very, very useful in compliance. But In general corporate advisory, I do believe my personal view is that that is something which will still need the skill set of a human intelligence and review and assessment. And there is one very simple reason for that, Amir, that is because of the complexity of laws in this country. To give you I mean, because we are a federal structure, so we have central laws, we have state laws, and then we have local laws, municipal laws. So whether it is compliances on how to, which will apply to an establishment, to employment laws, you have to, notwithstanding the code of labor laws which have come into force, the fact of the matter is that complexity is going to remain, and there is no one centralized repository of all the laws and notifications. So AI will fail in making that assessment of what is going to apply to your particular situation. So, yeah, I mean, all credit to AI and its utilities, but I think this is one area which is going to still need lawyers for a long time to come in this country.
Yes, very true. So, across your 3 decades of practice, what is that one milestone that deeply changed the trajectory of your career?
Okay, so to talk about that, Amir, I'll have to talk about the trajectory, the whole this thing, but I will be brief on that. So after going to Australia, I mean, I was taking a break. I came back and I joined JSA, right? And the only reason for joining JSA at that point of time was actually money. I was very happy with Ajay and Company because of the work environment and the kind of work and exposure I was getting. But if I may be frank, we were very poorly paid at that point of time. And when I came back, I that was the only reason. And then I it was joining the right place at the wrong time because JSA had just expanded, and I think they hired a lot of lawyers, but there was not enough work. So I got frustrated and I quit. In frustration, actually, for lack of, I felt very underutilized after 8 years of working nonstop and for whatever reasons. And then I ended up spending the next 2 years in the wilderness. That period is the one which changed the trajectory for me because after quitting JSA, I joined CII. I had this feeling that I had worked for the two best Delhi-based law firms. For personal reasons, I did not want to relocate. So I said, no more law firms. Let me do something academic. So I had done a World Trade Organization paper during my LLM. So I went and joined CII's International Trade Affairs Division and let me do some academics. But I did not last there long because after a while, CII, a good organization, but I understand their constraints, wanted me to go out and get funding. And I told them, I'm a lawyer. I get paid to speak. I'm not going to go and ask companies for money to sponsor events.
Hmm.
So, and then I was simultaneously, I thought I will go in house and I was interviewed by so many companies. This was 2001, 2002, and um, I don't have any hesitation in admitting that I was humiliated quite badly in those interviews because I think 25 years ago, still the role of a lawyer from a company's point of view, in-house role was not very well defined or structured. So I was told to go back to law firms, and I didn't have in-house experience, and the kind of money I was asking for was ridiculous, and things like that. So that was a reality check for me. And I had always thought that, these skills that you learn, they don't, for example, somebody told me that how can you be a lawyer and refuse to go to court? uh, Apart from the technical aspect of it, that if you become an employee of a company, you have to surrender your license to practice. The fact was that I had already witnessed almost 9 years of corporate law, never having gone to court even once. And I found it really, very backward thinking. But then in 2003, after being in the wilderness for 2 years, I was called back by my previous firm, AZB and Company, to rejoin them to service one particular client, technology related client. And because I had good relations, I was a little hesitant, but I joined back and giving myself 6 months or a year. But I stayed on for the next 21 years. So, if you ask me, the most defining moment in my entire 32 years is those 2 years that I spent in the wilderness. And the outcome of that was that I became super focused on my work after that.
Wow, beautiful. So, Sunila, what skills or habits are necessary to plan for long-term success?
Uh, it's difficult to generalize these things, Amir, but I can only talk about what I experienced and I learned what were the important things. What basically, the certain habits or skills that you developed which made you last so long in the profession. Uh, and this is based on my personal experience. I mean, people can agree or disagree with that, but some of the fundamentals I felt was one was always do your homework before starting an assignment. It's very important to do the background homework for any, whether it's a discussion, you're getting into a meeting, even if you're a junior, you have to support your senior, you have to do that homework so that you are, prepared. The point is not that you should know all the answers. That is never the objective. But at least if you're aware that you're getting into a meeting for a client, for example, who wants advice on legal metrology, you should do your homework about the client, their products, what could be the issues that come up, and of course, the law. So, doing your homework. The second related is client's business. It's linked to the first one. If you don't know your client's business, what are the products or services? Are they in manufacturing? Do they run a factory? Are they a service provider? Is it a multinational? Is it an Indian company? Is it a foreign owned? Many such things. It becomes part of the homework. Then, this, and I'll go back to the first point that I talked about during my first stint in my profession. Because of the lack of resources, we were always doing creative thinking, out of the box thinking. That requires, I think some extra effort. People should understand it is the quality and not the quantity which matters. So you can spend hundreds of hours by five lawyers, but if you have not been able to identify what the core issue or the problem for the client is and come up with feasible solutions, then all the brilliance in the world can't help you. Last couple of points that I think are very important are in evolving with the times. You have to adapt. You can imagine the number of changes I would have seen over a 30-year period, whether it was highly regulated, then the liberalization. Today's generation has not even heard of FIPB. That was the Foreign Investment Promotion Board. People are blank when I talk to them about FIPB because it no longer exists. So
Hmm.
one has to consistently, evolve with the times, adapt, stay updated constantly. Regulations, there was a phase when the regulations were going down, and suddenly there came a phase when it's back to the government wanting to regulate everything. And the final point, I think, which is very important for a very important habit for long term success is never compromising on your integrity. You have
Yes.
to do the right thing when no one is watching. And then there will be times when clients will ask for convenient opinions, where obviously you have to resist that urge.
Wow. So let's go memory down the lane. What's been the most memorable case you have handled and what were the learnings from that?
I don't think I will be able to speak about them, but
We just
especially
need the
because,
merits of the case. No client detail,
okay,
nothing.
so it wasn't really, I mean, I've been a corporate lawyer, but so they are not really cases the way litigating lawyers have cases. But yes, many years ago, I had done a posh investigation. This was before even the law in 2013 had come. So the inquiry was being done under the Vishakha judgment. It was one of my most initial investigations, and four of us had gone down to another city in South India. I'm not going to stay, give the name of the city, but we were actually threatened by the respondent, the person who was accused, very subtly, very in a very nice manner. But we were threatened by the respondent, the alleged accused. And that was the first time I realized that even corporate lawyers can face these kind of situations.
Mm.
But we didn't lose our nerve. In fact, the icing on the cake for that case was that because the we as part of the committee were so determined to do our job, that the entire case unraveled for the respondent because there were other employees who came forward and wanted to speak to us in confidence outside the office. So that was a big win. Another case also related to Posh was when I was subtly called by the, it was an old relationship, and I was called by the MD before even the inquiry was happening and given subtle hints about how the inquiry should go. And I must give credit to my seniors at that point of time. After that meeting, I went and told them that if they wanted a doctored inquiry, then I was the wrong person for the job. And I was categorically told by my seniors that I should go ahead and do my job the way I deem it to be right. And that was a huge learning for me, that if your seniors support you, then, uh, there is no stopping you.
Wow. So let's come to your new journey. After spending over 21 years at AZB and Partners, what did stepping into a leadership role at Lex Jurist mean to you personally and professionally?
Okay, so just to correct you, Amin, I was already in the leadership role in AZB as well, because I
I
became a
do.
partner in 2007, and then as we went along, I became a senior partner. So, and in 2007, I started building my team. I hired my first junior. That was a time when I was keeping a very crazy schedule of work, travel. It was just, you weren't coming to know when the year has started and when it has ended, that sort of a thing. And in hindsight, I believe that subconsciously I've started thinking about this can't go on forever, and I need to build a team which is going to be supporting me, not only supporting me, actually you will be stepping into my shoes as we go along, because I am human, everybody else is human. I can't do everything, and I never had the inclination to work 24/7, like the possession sometimes is. So, even though it was not a conscious planning, but over the years, and I think I strongly believe with the grace of the universe, I ended up building a fantastic team. By the time I left EZB, I was heading one of the best teams in the firm, if I may say that myself, which consists of multiple senior partners, senior associates, and associates who are not only growing from year to year in numbers and in billing, but they're actually expanding the practice areas of the firm and developing new practice areas, um, e-commerce, fintech, hugely booming sectors. Uh, Existing areas like labor and employment have been expanded hugely. And now they're moving in the direction of AI and satellite communications, all subjects of the future. So
Yes.
I was very sort of last couple of years. I had taken a conscious step back from active work, and I ended up doing a lot of management and mentoring role. And I started feeling that I do enjoy that. And I read somewhere that when you're a leader, you are no longer responsible for doing the job. You're now responsible for inspiring, coaching, and mentoring your team to become the very best version of themselves. And this really resonated with me. But the reality is that tier one firms like AZB, there this model is not sustainable. And therefore, I thought that it is time for me to move on and find something which resonates with what I am thinking of as my purpose. So, when my best friend and batchmate offered me the role in Lex Juris, I was more than happy because it absolutely sinks in with what I have been wanting to do going forward. It's a co-managing partner role, which means I'm excited about it because going to be a completely different world of only litigators, a lot of them criminal lawyers. Uh, and they are just, and the caliber of the lawyers and the kind of marquee clients that they have, they're all busy doing work all the time, and they are maybe what they need is a more formal internal structure so that the growth is seamless and they are all more productive. So putting systems in place and mentoring and that kind of aside, I'm very excited about that kind of role.
Wow. So let's come to this question. Who are some of the mentors who shaped your journey? My first part. And what mentorship philosophy do you follow with young professionals today?
Okay, so there was I, I frankly would not like to name one or two people because I believe that so many people have, that I have interacted with. They have helped in mentoring me, my style of working, my thinking. And even today, I believe that I learn something from everyone I get to interact with. Mere observations of others. I must share with you that, and there, all kinds of experiences. So there was one client who complained about my aggressive style of negotiations. And the same day, another client wanted me to travel on New Year's Day because he wanted me in the meeting room because of my assertive style of negotiations. So, two different approaches completely. Then, as a woman, I have entered a room full of men, only men, and exited that room the day later feeling heard and respected because gender did not come into play at all. So, all those people, professionals, whether clients or the opposite party or the lawyers, they're all mentors. Another room full of men where I entered, and the senior most gentleman in the room, the chairman of the company, which was the opposite party to my client, picked up my draft agreement, business transfer agreement, and dropped it on the table very gently and very sweetly and says, Madam, have you drafted this? We have not understood. We can't sign this. And the next day, and we spent the whole day, 2 days in negotiations there. And the next day, we ended up signing that agreement with minimal changes. You know, they could have been rude and obnoxious and, or, anything, but the way respectfully he said it with a smile, I think that was very nice. And I had no problems in taking him through every word of that huge document. So, so many mentors. You learn from everyone. My erstwhile boss, I learned one of the things I never heard him in the 30 years that I've interacted and seen him, observed him, criticize either his competitors or yell and scream at any of his own team members in front of any client. But I have also observed another managing partner of another firm really disrespect his own junior in front of everyone. So, you learn and observe and, choose your own this thing. As far as mentoring, young professionals today, I have a couple of points which I actually always have reiterated to whoever has come and worked with me. First is the my request and advice to everyone is to speak up. I believe
Mm.
that it is very surprising when I see some of the comments on which are put on anonymously on social media. People talk about um, such inappropriate things, but when it comes to in at the workplace to speak up, why do they hesitate? Is the anonymity which gives them safety, but why? So, you know, when the juniors hesitate in asking questions, they are doing the biggest service to themselves. And going and asking a question from Google is not the answer. Asking communication is very important. So, speaking up. Second is the focus. I find that they have variety of approaches that different people have, and everybody is driven by their own life circumstances or experiences. But when somebody becomes a lawyer, as an example, they need to actually give a serious thought to, is it a 9 to 5 job for me, which is going to earn me extra pocket money? And I'm going to go home happy. And I don't care about becoming a good professional. Has somebody seen Suits kind of drama and become enamored by the glamour and the glitz and the money bags impression of corporate lawyers? Get a reality check. Life is not that simple. There is a lot of hard work, grind, effort, determination required. So one needs to, focus and figure out what is it that they want out of this profession. Uh, Third point is, withstanding peer pressure. I find it amazing that lawyers become graduates and then they want pester their parents to send them abroad for an LLM. Why? Because everybody else is doing it. I mean, why can't you just take a pause and think about it? Is it something you're doing to enhance your CV? Then take a reality check. What is the actual practice that you're planning to do post that? Is it going to help you? Um, can your parents afford it? And why not? Going back to what I mentioned, Amir, about when I went to do my master's, I did it after a break of 8 years. I did it for a
Mm.
break. I funded it myself. I was very proud of that. And
Mm.
why can't the youngsters think about waiting for a few years and then getting that experience? What is the hurry? This perception that you need LLM on your CV to get a good job is not a this thing. And the final point I think is this huge focus on pedigree. I find it amazing that everybody is so obsessed about which law school you did your law from or which tier one firm are you working from. And I'm shocked to know that there are law firms which look at these two criteria.
Mm.
Can you believe I built one of the best teams in AZB without ever looking at these two things? Our star performers are from law schools which are ridiculed, which are made fun of, which are considered tier three law firms because it doesn't matter. It is a very individual thing. And I'm shocked when I hear that some firms will not entertain CVs if you're not from an NLU. I think out of 29 people in my erstwhile firm's team, in my team, there were two people from NLUs, and that was purely coincidental. So this pedigree focus is very, very superficial and totally irrelevant. I mean, Come on, I was from Campus Law Center, Delhi University, Faculty of Law. I studied by myself. It was considered one of the best law schools in Asia at that point of time. There were no NLUs. So these are a couple of things that I feel that, for mentorship, it's very important to give that guidance to the younger generation. And
Wow.
none of them relate to legal studies.
Wow. So, Sunila, how do you keep yourself grounded when working on a high pressure, high value cases?
I haven't experienced that in a while, but uh, um, even when I was going through stressful this thing, I think staying focused and breaking down the steps in any assignment helps you, and especially because corporate law requires a team effort. It's not like litigation where a person arguing in the court is going to be facing the final test. In advisory work, it is a whole team. So, for example, if you have to give a very complex opinion to a client and your client's transaction depends on that. So, breaking down the different pieces of it and making people responsible for bringing it all together. And one cannot say, and no working in silos, very important. Everybody should have the whole picture. One, everybody should feel invested, and distributing responsibility is very important, I think, to also distribute the stress. After all, why should only the person on the top or the senior most person only take all the stress? Delegating and making people responsible for their the sum of different parts should all come together in such a manner that even the stress is distributed. I think that's the first time I've thought about it, but I think that's how I had probably worked.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, with the legal industry rapidly evolving, Sunila, what areas do you believe the next generation of lawyers must invest in learning?
Uh, this is too complicated for me to answer, Amir, because, or let me put it this way. I think one more major thing that people need to understand and focus on is they need to have their basics in place to be able to deal with AI. If you don't know your basics, how will you know whether AI is right or wrong?
Yeah.
Chat GPT is being relied upon in writing up memos and petitions, and the courts are discovering that they're quoting judgments which do not exist. I think the biggest concern for lawyers should be that what is AI going to do to the jobs? Second, how to outsmart it and how to outlive its glamour right now. And I think the way, from a common sense point of view, I feel is you have to be smarter than it by knowing that it is wrong, the content of it.
Wow. So, my last question for your professional journey round, Sunila, what advice would you give to women in law aiming for leadership roles?
So, mm, I mean, the reality is that when I answer this question, it's we have to recognize first of all that we are going to be addressing a very, very limited minority of audience, because the fact that a woman has done a law degree and become a lawyer means we belong to a privileged class. Okay. And so it's still and why minority law, I believe that women everywhere should. There are a couple of things that I would love to talk about. But as a starting point, if I was to talk about my own journey, I think I was extremely lucky because I got a work environment where we were not looked upon as women lawyers, but only as lawyers.
Mm.
And that sort of, colored my perspective to some extent because today, when I feel that there is sometimes too much of focus on this gender issue, that troubles me. If you are always you are letting it overwhelm you and you ignore every other aspect, then it becomes a problem. Yes, gender should be there, awareness should be there, but it also so that's one general part of it, that don't put too much of focus on the gender to the extent that you exclude everything else. The second part is a very personality driven thing. In my case, my personality, my no nonsense approach, my assertive nature meant that, I did not face those issues. But I consider myself extremely lucky uh, to that extent. So, related to this, I think my first advice to women who are working in any profession is to speak up. Please do not suffer in silence. Speak up if you have a point of view. Speak up if you need to ask for something. It's very important. I think it's this need to be seen and heard is a very fundamental human need, I believe. And when we talk about it in gender or minorities context, it becomes even more important. So speaking up is very, very important. You have to unlearn a lot of stereotyping. You have to learn taking the initiative of speaking up, but you have to push through the stereotypes and glass ceilings yourself. Nobody else is going to come and do it for you. The second serious advice I would like to give to women, and this is my personal view, and it has generated a lot of um, discussion, is not to consider any profession as a stopgap. You study, you become a lawyer, you start a job, and you will work till you get married. Or you get married and then you will work till you have a kid. Please do not treat any profession, including the legal profession, as a stopgap measure because fundamentally you are taking away the seat of another woman from the table. I feel very, very strongly about it. And I feel that nobody is thinking from that point of view and giving into those, stereotypical perceptions that women have the liberty or the option to just, up and go. Of course, there could be some serious issues which impede, but the thinking needs to change that, your profession is a stopgap till you get married or have kids. World is changing. Organizations are so accepting of sabbaticals, maternity leaves, women taking a different kind of work schedule to accommodate these needs. So when organizations are being so supportive, why are some of the women not taking advantage of that privilege that has been, or privilege may not be the right word. And final, I think, is maybe the most controversial. My most humble advice to women: not to use gender either as a crutch or as a tool to get ahead. It really saddens me to see this weaponization of gender when it is used to curry favors or preference for advancement in your professional life. I have seen it happen innumerable times around me with respect to clients, and the instances where, for example, people say that dowry law was so misused and abused it should be done away with. Same is happening with Posh. Yes, there is abuse and misuse of both these laws and many other laws as well. But does that mean that you don't give the rights to the women that they need? So similarly, this is something, I mean, I think in our whole debate of feminism and gender sensitivity, we forget the men. And I feel that it has gone to the other extreme. And I think we need to bring back the balance related to gender issues uh, into the workplace and in professions.
Wow. So, for your information, we have done a panel discussion on beyond burnouts, creating safe space for the corporate mind just recently on
Oh,
during
wonderful.
World Mental Health Day. So there
Very
were
needed.
four coffee speakers. Akshara Damle, apna, he's a psychologist. Then Megha Malan from Ernst& Young, Associate Talent Director. Then Neeraj Vyas, uh, he supports mental wellness for the legal professionals. He's a partner at Saga Legal. Then the one who brought up this topic during the conversation was Nayantara Sanyal, partner at ALMT Legal. So beautiful conversations, and I- so we are planning something on a panel discussion on having a genderless workspaces.
Very important
Because
topic, Ahmed.
you are the second one who brought up this. Gratitude to you and Vinati Kastia Kilambi. She also talked
Okay,
about this.
great.
Okay. So I would invite you, both of you and others, to have this a conversation during the panel discussion.
Sure, I'll be happy to.
Okay. So let's go to the next round and understand uh, Sunila as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
So, in terms of my parents, Amir, my father was a civil engineer and my mother was a homemaker, and I have one elder sister who was a communications professional. I lost my father at a very young age. I was 10 years old when he passed away suddenly, and we were part of a big joint family. Unfortunately, my grandparents were not alive. But that was our first exposure to the highly patriarchal society that we live in, even educated families. All my uncles and aunts were doctors and everyone. And they just wanted to throw us out of the house after my father passed away because they did not want to take the burden of two girls who will get them married, who will pay for their dowry. That's what was my background. So by the time I think I reached LSR after finishing my schooling, and I was born and brought up in Delhi, I'm a hardcore Delhiite. Lady Shri Ram College was an eye-opening experience for me. I did my political science honors. It changed my personality completely. It taught me lifelong lessons about asking questions and always, not accepting anything at face value and to apply my own mind. While I was doing, if you ask me today why I did law, maybe because I was influenced by the litigation that surrounded me at home, which was of a very troublesome and traumatic experience, visiting police stations and Tis Hazari courts and Delhi High Court for various family related litigations. But yeah, so maybe that was playing on my mind. I wanted to be confident about what our rights are. Even in school, I had started, thinking about those things. But surprisingly, once I did law, I did not want to be a litigator because I had seen T. Hazari in the 80s, There was no way I was going to get into a T. Hazari court for life. Or even Delhi High Court was in terrible state at that point of time. So formative years were personally were very, very challenging But God was really kind, and we focused on our professional lives, and financial security was a very, very important driver for me to become a professional and become financially independent because of what I had seen at home.
Okay. So, do you have any rituals or hobbies that help you disconnect from the constant buzz of legal work?
Yeah, my I think it's been 25 years. I became very, very particular about holidays. I had to plan and go for vacations at least once or twice a year, if I could help it twice. And that fortunately has really, widen my horizons. I've been to about 35 countries. I really enjoy going to new places, seeing not only our own country. I think I have a lot to see in India as well, but
Yes.
abroad also. And I'm happy that I did a lot of that travel in my initial years, because now, with what is happening at the airports and in the West and all the wars going on, it's domestic travel. But yes, definitely traveling is a big stress buster for me. And when I travel, I completely switch off.
Wow. So, what are your travel plans for 2026?
Haven't made any yet, but I'm sure we'll figure out something.
Wow. So, if your friends were to describe you in three words, what would they say?
It'll be very challenging for them to describe me in three words, but I think one of the things that pops in my head right away is they'll call me too blunt. I'm too honest for my own good, is what I have been told, highly emotional, and I think very caring.
Wow, beautiful. So, is there a book, movie, or piece of art that deeply resonates with your personal philosophy?
I used to read a lot, and one of the books that I really loved, and it's a very old book, it's called Gone with the Wind, and it was written by Margaret
Mhm.
Mitchell. And the character Scarlett O'Hara was very, somehow I really love that character. So there is a phrase that she uses, tomorrow is another day, which really resonates with me because it depicts resilience to me, and my life has been, a real test of resilience. So tomorrow is another day by Scarlett O'Hara is one of the most memorable ones. In terms of music, I think the song "Que Sera Sera." I think Doris Day again. I mean, I'm just, I think, sort of also indicating my seniority in age by digging up these old timers. But the beautiful words, "Que sera, sera," whatever will be, is another thing which I, really resonate with. We can't control anything, and whatever the plan of the universe is, it is there for you.
Beautiful. So, my last three are a little reflective. What legacy would you like to leave behind?
I think, Amir, to be honest, because I recently left AZB, and there was a transition, and I had farewells, and I had so much of emotional, this thing, such beautiful reactions from people, and I feel I've already built my legacy. The fact that people will think of me and a smile will come to their face because of some kindness, some thoughtfulness,
Beautiful.
and my otherwise my professional persona of being a very hard taskmaster or a very aggressive, assertive, whatever you may want to call, speaking my own mind. But I was just overwhelmed with the kind of emotions and messages that I got from my peers, my juniors, and some of the staff members. So I think my legacy is already in place. And I love it that people will remember me because of my thoughtfulness or kindness.
Since you're celebrating this is a Christmas special episode. What message would you like to give to our viewers out there?
I think I had my one of the core beliefs that I developed over the last 2 decades was this feeling of gratitude. And I just feel that if you're grateful for even the smallest thing, even for this cup of chai, sorry, Amer, I'm having chai, not coffee, because I'm a chai drinker. In this cold weather, a cup of tea, the kind of warmth
Yes,
it can give, I'm truly grateful for it. So, my message to everyone would be to be grateful for everything and focus on what you have, and more blessings will come because of that.
beautiful. So my last one is a googly one. Describe Sunila in one line.
One line. I am full of gratitude for universe's abundance and grace, and I'm working towards full acceptance of my purpose here.
Beautiful. So let's put you in the hot seat, the rapid fire round. Your favorite color?
Blue.
Memos or meetings?
Meetings.
Your comfort food after a long day?
Rajma chawal.
Wow. Best piece of advice received?
Oh, there are so many. Be patient.
Wow. Your dream travel place?
I have been to quite a few, but in India, Kashmir for sure.
Wow. One person you'd love to have chai?
Shah Rukh Khan.
Wow. Law in one word.
Common sense.
Beautiful. So you have already said your preference. So let's just toast.
Cheers. Thank
And
you.
you did well. And here's your book, which we'll autograph and send to you. So, Sunila, your journey stands as a testament to commitment, adaptability, and timeless leadership in the legal profession. You embody the blend of intellect and empathy that defines true leadership. Your story reminds us that law is not merely about contracts or compliance. It's about clarity, conscious, and continuous growth. As you continue to guide the next generation of lawyers with grace and grit, one thing is clear. Your legacy is not just written in case files, but in the minds you have mentored and the values you have inspired. So, like that, there are 800 plus coffee speakers who have shared their professional, personal journeys. Subscribe to the Coffee Con Show on YouTube, implement those insights, see the changes, and we continue our conversation with a cup of coffee with another speaker. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.